Hi, I'm Lynne Katzmann, President of Juniper Communities. I'm here today with Mary Klein. I'm thrilled to have you here today, Mary. Mary is one of the pioneers of the assisted living movement in Oregon, and is a close colleague, a dear friend, and also a member of Juniper's board. And it's a wonderful pleasure, Mary, to have a couple of minutes to talk with you about the history of assisted living, how it differs from other types of long-term care options, and what family members should know if they're choosing a community. So why don't we start a little bit by you telling us a little bit about the history of assisted living. I know this goes back many, many years.
It does, and I think the biggest effort in defining assisted living was to help create a much more residential environment for people to live in as they began to need certain kinds of support services. And I think probably two of the biggest advantages of this kind of a community is that you have supportive services available to you, but at the same time a level of privacy that's a lot like home. And in addition to that, then the ability to stay connected with other people, and in fact sometimes even find new interests and new friends. There's just a whole expectation that you keep living. You're not going somewhere just to get care.
So Mary, tell me a little bit about how assisted living evolved as an environment. What differs an assisted living community from a nursing home, for example?
Well, the whole notion was to start with the concept of home. But what are the kinds of spaces you have in your home? You have a dining room. You know, and people always tend to gather in the kitchen, the dining room, to talk, to eat together, to gab, to socialize. And other spaces where you go to read, and you go to sit, and you go to look out the window, you go to play cards, and maybe you've got a basement in which you do activities, or a family room that you do activities. But there are spaces within the building that you go to for very specific reasons, and that the private space in which you live is furnished with your furnishings, with the things that you absolutely love. And the spaces, there's certainly a space smaller than your home, but on the other hand, it's not some sort of a homogenized, routinized barracks or dormitory. It's your space. You're
so
able
this
to
is
create
like an apartment in a larger community.
Right.
At Juniper, we think of it as living in the village, and everyone has their small apartment in the village. One of the things that's really been interesting to me in thinking about the history of assisted living is the fact that it evolved rather serendipitously from some requirements that were made because of a financing option. But those were things like doors that locked, privacy, apartment features, kitchenettes, full bathrooms, places to get your mail, things that were very much more like an apartment building, a home, than what we considered typical in a nursing home, which was shared accommodation, doors that did not lock, oftentimes shared bathing facilities and things of that sort. So tell us a little bit about that, and has that remained over the years? Are those things still features of assisted living as opposed to other types of long-term care?
Yeah, all of those features are much more predominant in assisted living. There are some communities that might offer partial bathrooms or maybe not a full kitchen in the way that I think most Juniper buildings do. But a dominant feature of assisted living is still to have as frequently as possible separate spaces for a private bathroom, something where you can cook and do a little bit of keeping snacks of your own, and those are very important. In some communities there might be some shared accommodations with two people, I don't think that's the case with Juniper buildings.
Very few, although
But there
if
may be
people
some.
want to have companions, we sometimes have a father and son, or a
Yep.
mother and daughter. Two sisters is common. Sometimes two very close friends
Right.
share an apartment. And for them, it's really nice because they are able to be with people that they love, and it provides that ongoing companionship, which some other people don't prefer, and would prefer to have a private space and then
And it's
come
about
out.
choice.
It's about
And
choice.
That's the option.
So Mary, tell me, if you were advising a close friend on what to look for if they needed to place a loved one in assisted living, what would you tell them to do?
Well, I think the first thing I do is tell them to sit down and think carefully about what the person really needs to have. Is there, very specifically, what support do they need? But also to try and think about what helps that person have a good day. Once again, this is the difference between assisted living and some of the more older traditional long-term care services. We're not talking about just providing services, but helping somebody have a life. So it might be that somebody's a rabid baseball fan, and they want to make sure that as part of the plan they have, that someone will help them be sure to get the baseball game on the radio each day.
Remember to watch it or
Right.
listen.
Or be sure not to offer them a bath or a shower during Jeopardy.
Got it.
So both things that somebody needs and things that are important to help them have a good day. I'd also suggest that when people go in to visit any community, that they talk to residents, that they talk to other visitors about what their experience is with the staff and with the community as a whole.
Should they ask to talk to family members of people who are already there?
Absolutely, and that's, I suppose, what I mean by visitors, is to have the opportunity to chat with someone who's there visiting an aunt and uncle, a mother, a father. It's a good idea to visit in the evening and on the weekend as well, and to make sure that the community has a leisure time program, an activity program.
What should that look like, Mary?
Well, it should look like more than bingo and basket weaving. You know, although I have to say, in my experience,
People love
there are a
bingo.
lot of folks that absolutely love bingo. I was humiliated and I learned my lesson.
I have been there too.
So, and actually, we could have a long discussion on why bingo really works for people.
Right.
And why they enjoy it. But there ought to be variety.
Like art classes and perhaps a choir or even a drumming circle we have at some of our communities. It depends what people want, doesn't
Well, I have another colleague of mine, and they have a scheduled activity called Stitch and Bitch, if you'll excuse the expression. But in fact, it's kind of a sewing circle, but also a place where people
talk.
really gab and talk and complain about things, and also I think share a lot of joy.
That's great. That's great. Well, Mary, I thank you for taking the time to share some of your thoughts with us. And I'm ever grateful to you for all that you've taught me and what you brought to our industry, because without people like you, we wouldn't have the options that we have as we all grow older. So thank you.
Well, thanks, Jim.